Well guys, here today it was the best day in the history of the stock market in terms of a one-day point gain, okay? The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up nearly 2,000 points today. We got to talk about this in depth. I'm going to give you my full perspective on everything that has transpired this week, how you should be thinking, some things I've seen out there that I want to bring to your attention and whatnot, okay? Up over 9% for the Dow 30 today. S&P 500 up over 9% today, 230 point upward move. The NASDAQ was up over 9% here today, a massive move for the NASDAQ, okay? Now to put this in context for you, this wasn't just the biggest day in the history of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it was by far and away the biggest point gain in the history of the Dow 30, okay? I mean, look at the next closest day. It was a, nearly 1,300 point up day. And I mean, here today was almost 2,000 points up. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. And I know some folks will say, well, that was just a big, huge point gain. And, stock market's still, pretty high compared to any time in the past. So that was just a, big point gain. Well, still, even on a percentage basis, it was the 10th best day in the history of the stock market. I mean, look at some of these dates. You're talking about, back from the 20s and 30s, some of these other big days out there, okay? So needless to say, this was a massive day, literally the 10th best day, even on a percentage basis in the history of the market. And this comes after. If you look at what happened this week, it's been an extraordinary week. I mean, absolutely extraordinary. Two of the worst days in the history of the stock market happened this week, guys. Happened this week, okay? 2 of the 12 worst days in a percentage loss in the history of the Dow Jones Industrial Average literally happened this week, okay? So that just puts it, into some context. This was, I mean, I don't really think you could put this week on any other modern week in the history of the stock market. I don't think you could put them on the same level. This was the craziest week in possibly stock market history, but certainly in modern history. This was the craziest, what we just went through, okay? Unbelievable. All 3 of the 3 worst days in terms of point losses in the history of the Dow 30 all happened this week. This was an extraordinary week. This was the craziest week in the history of the stock market and certainly in modern history. Unreal week, okay? And I'm seeing a little bit of this out there. I'm seeing some folks saying, I wish I bought yesterday, man. I wish I bought yesterday. Dow goes up 2,000 points today. Why the heck didn't I buy yesterday? Why didn't I buy heavier yesterday? I see a lot of folks saying things like that out there, okay? Remember, yesterday, literally the market's down 2,300 points, the worst day since, 1987, and the worst point loss ever. And when I hear things like that, I live in Las Vegas, okay? It's a city built on gambling, okay? When I hear stuff like that, it makes me think, gosh, that's such a gambler's mentality, okay? No different than like if I go I want to play some roulette with, friends or families in town or something like that, and we want to go down the strip and do a little gaming action. We go down there and want to play some roulette, okay? And by the way, if I'm going to game, you know where I'm going. The Win or the Encore, okay? Shout out Winner Encore. I have a stocks and no scope. Spend some money there, please. So needless to say, that's where I'm going to game if I'm going to game. But let's say we're down there. We're playing some roulette, okay? All of a sudden I see it come up red and I bet on black. I'm like, dang it, I was gonna bet on red. Why didn't I bet on red? Oh, that was so stupid. Or I'm thinking, oh man, I bet you green's gonna come up soon, but I don't bet on green, and all of a sudden green comes up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have made 36 times my money. I knew I should have bet green on that one. This is a type of mentality you have when you're saying stuff like that. Oh, I wish I would have done. When you're making judgments off the stock market on such a short-term basis like that, there's nothing more than just a gamer's mentality. Is this a type of way somebody like a Warren Buffett thinks? Absolutely not. Warren Buffett's thinking about fundamentals of companies. He's thinking multi-years out, okay? Is this the way Jeff Bezos would think about Amazon and building Amazon, like making day-to-day decisions depending on if the stock market's up big or not? No. Is this the way somebody like an Elon Musk thinks? Absolutely not. These guys are business legends, have become billionaires from not just working really hard and working really smart and building teams, but from understanding long-term outlooks long-term trends, and what is realistically possible, and what are the right decisions to make when you're in business. But the fact that the stock market, and you see all these stock prices all the time, it clouds people's judgment, and it puts people in such a messed up way of thinking. They see the stock prices moving around. Oh, look at this stock went up big today. Oh, this stock went down big today. Oh, look at the market today. Oh, look at the stock market tomorrow. Oh, look at the stock market today. Oh, what's the stock market going to do next week, next month? Everybody gets caught up in such a short-term mentality because they're seeing these stock prices go up and up and up and down and up and down and up and down. And it's just crazy. I mean, think about it this way, right? Imagine you were going to go do like you were going to buy a McDonald's franchise off of somebody that was selling one, right? If you have any sort of business intelligence, you're not going to ask, hey, what were your guys' sales numbers in the past hour? Absolutely not. That's completely irrelevant. You go in there at 2 in the afternoon, who cares what their sales numbers were in the past hour? Like, that's not what you're looking at. You're going to say, hey, what were your guys' sales numbers over the past year? What were your guys' sales numbers over the past 3 years? What were your guys' sales numbers over the past 5 years? I need to see what the trajectory is. What type of employees do you have here? Like who are the strongest employees? Who are the weakest employees? How long have these employees been on the team? How much do these employees get paid? How much do I have to pay for this location? These are the business decisions you're going to ask if you're going to buy that McDonald's franchise. But when it comes to stock market investing, although it should be 100% fundamentals and based, valuation based, people start just looking at it as arbitrary numbers moving around because they can open up their phone and see a bunch of stock prices going up and down each day. These companies' values are not changing each day in terms of the underlying business. It's being traded around like it is. But at the end of the day, companies are generally pretty solid. And generally, most of these companies aren't going to see big shrinks in their business or big gains in their business unless they're, somebody that's their whole business is falling apart, or unless it's a company that is growing massively. Most companies are just going to do okay in most scenarios, right? And people just don't get that through their head. Keep in mind, if you buy some Disney stock, okay? You buy some Disney stock, you're buying the underlying business. You're buying one share in that underlying business. This is a thing that so many investors forget. They get so caught up into whatever the ticker symbol is and whether that stock went up or down today. When you buy one share of Disney stock, it's somebody selling you that share, okay? Somebody that used to own that share is selling you that share. It might be a fund, might be an individual investor, might be somebody that held that stock for the last 10 seconds, some day trader getting in and out, or it might be somebody that's held that stock for the last 20 years. Or anything in between. Somebody is selling you that Disney stock. And that one Disney share represents ownership in the Disney Corporation. And every company you buy into, you're buying ownership in it. And if you're buying ownership in it, as an owner, you don't think based upon what happened in the last 10 minutes, what happened in the last week, what happened in the last month, what happened in the last 3 months. You're thinking about what has happened over the last several years, what is likely to play out over the next several years, not the next several weeks. Build a portfolio you're going to be proud of in 5 years, not in the next 5 minutes, okay? So many folks get caught up into the short-term mentality, and this is what you have to avoid by any means necessary. You have to focus on long-term if you want to make a lot of money over the long term in the stock market, okay? What sorts of things do you need to focus on to make these sorts of decisions, okay? The 4 main things you got to focus on. There's a ton of small things in between all these, but at the end of the day, this is a very simple game. Is it a great company? Okay, now there's a ton of things that go into making a decision if a company is truly a great company or not. Second thing is, does a company have good financials? Now, there's a ton of things we could go into that basically judge a company if they have good financials or they don't. But does a company have good financials? Is a company likely to grow? Another thing that there's a million things that make up that if you're going to expect a company to grow in the future. But is a company likely to grow in future years? And are you paying a fair valuation, or are you getting a company for undervalued valuation? Okay, and there's a ton of things that go into that. But those, at the end of the day, a great investment decision comes down to those 4 things, and those 4 things only. Is it a great company? Do they have good financials? Are they likely to grow? Are we paying a fair valuation or undervalued valuation? It's as simple as that. And there's a ton of many things that go into each of those categories, so you understand all those. But at the end of the day, those are the 4 core things. And it's what is completely lost in this age of just, people getting in and out of stocks and the news headlines and, oh my gosh, what happened with this thing that's going on right now that's affecting the market really negatively, and oh my gosh, what happened with interest rates, and oh my gosh, what happened over here and over there. And it's just a lot of talk, and it's just a lot of short-term stuff that goes on, and it creates a lot of short-term speculation. And instead of people worried about what a company's going to likely do over the next 5 years, they're worried about what's going to happen for that company over the next 5 days and the next 5 weeks. And it's just crazy. It's literally just insanity at the end of the day. I try to bring this point up to the people in my private group all the time, like in the Discord chat. I try to always remind them of this. And in times like we've had recently, so many people get caught up into the speculation game in the short term. And I'm always trying to bring up to them, guys, focus on the long term. This is what we need to be focused on. You can get caught up in all this speculation and the market's going to bottom next week. The market's going to bottom in a month. Market's going to bottom in 6 months. That's what we need to buy in. All that stuff, it's just pure speculation. That's just gambling decisions, okay? And gambling decisions are not the best decisions, okay? I mean, if you go play a slot machine, you're pretty much giving away your money, okay? And I'm gonna be like if somebody was like, oh man, I got my life savings here, I'm gonna put in the slot machine, I'm gonna say that's a really dumb decision, okay? And you know when it doesn't look like a dumb decision? When all of a sudden they hit some jackpot and they get super lucky, right? And I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess they hit the jackpot. That was stupid. That was really dumb of them. And they're like, no, I'm so smart. I played this slot machine. Oh my gosh. No, okay? Don't treat the stock market like it's one big slot machine. Trust me, over time you will lose money if you do that type of strategy. Long term, looking out multi-years, buying great companies, this is how it's done, okay? If you buy Microsoft stock, don't forget you're buying the actual Microsoft company, okay? Not a stock that was trading at 130 and 140 and then 160 and then 150 and then 140. No, you're buying an actual company. You're buying ownership in the Microsoft Corporation. If you go buy AMD stock tomorrow, okay, remember you're buying part ownership of literally the AMD company, okay? If you go buy some Tesla stock, remember that one share represents a piece of ownership in Tesla. And the more shares you have, the bigger and bigger owner you are of Tesla stock. Don't ever forget that. And these are real companies that build real products and have real employees and have real customers, okay? Don't ever forget that, guys, okay? That's all I can say about this whole situation that's going on. Great day in the stock market, needless to say, but a lot of people just don't have the right mindset with what's going on here in the short term, okay? Now, if you want to ever be part of my private group, we're about to have a huge sale in there in the description tab down there. Basically, if you want to have the deal sent to you in an email as soon as it drops on March 15th, we can go ahead and do that to you. You just have to sign up your email, or you can sign up for the messenger list, and we'll shoot you that deal. That deal is going to be to get in my private group, and it's going to be for an annual membership. So hope all you guys enjoy that. I've been wanting to take advantage of that for a while. And with that being said, guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.